West Sport with Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors. I'm Ben Stone, Gordon Thomas in the studio tonight in Haverfordwest. Fraser will be with us shortly and plenty to come between now and 9 o'clock this Monday evening. We're going to look back on the weekend's football that did manage to go ahead across Pembrokeshire, beating the big freeze and then the rain that followed. And we'll look ahead to some of Haverfordwest's opening matches because Phase 2 of the Cymru Premier League has now been announced. We'll have local rugby covered as well with a review of the weekend and a chat with Gareth Schofield, who'll be previewing the next Pembrokeshire County match coming up against a Neyland Select 15 on the 10th of February. Gareth is with us before 9, and a focus on local cricket to come in part 2 of the show as we talk to Kerry Shahal making a welcome return to the show from Cricket Wales. He'll be with us in the next 10-15 minutes or so. So let's get going. For now, it's just the two of us kicking things off. Fraser's on his way. Gordon, how are you?
I'm very good, Ben. I had quite a good weekend, to be honest with you. Although there was only 10 league games finished on Saturday in the Pembrokeshire Football League, I did manage to pop and watch Merlin's Bridge and Carew play on the 4G pitch because I knew that wasn't going to be off. It wouldn't have been affected, Ben. You know, and it was a cracking game.
Yeah, and Haverfordwest County were meant to be playing Cardiff, weren't they, on the Oggy Bridge Meadow. I think that game was called off on Friday afternoon, actually. And it was a combination, really, that temperatures didn't quite warm up enough, did they, for pitches to kind of thaw out after that cold weather.
Haverfordwest obviously took an early shout there, Ben. They called it off on Friday, not to make the Cardiff boys travel on Saturday. They called it off because of the frozen pitch, which it was. And obviously, you just pointed out, we had quite a bit of rain on Saturday morning, which wouldn't have helped matters either.
No, exactly. So let's go straight into the football, Gordon. You said you were at Merlin's Bridge. That game ended 3-3 in Division 1 with Carew. You can tell us about that game in just a sec. The other scores, Clarbeston Road 1, Milford United 2, Tenby 2, Penna Robbins 2 was the other game in Division 1. Nothing else, though. Kilgetty against Monkton Swifts was off, Goodwick and Hakin was off, and Fishguard against Neyland was off as well. So I guess that Merlin's Bridge game, Gordon, on the 4G, a game of 6 goals was an interesting one.
Yeah, it was actually. I mean, I can remember watching them playing in the 2019 Senior Cup and West Wales Cup finals. So there's a bit of pedigree and history in that particular game. Carew have been struggling this season. They were second from bottom before kickoff. Thankfully, they got a point due to a late equaliser in injury time. So it finished 3-3. It was an exciting game. Both sides give it their best shot, and it could have gone either way. Joe Lee came on in the second half, who actually scored in the 2 Senior Cup finals that had happened on the Bridge Meadow in 2019, and also in the West Wales Cup he had one as well. So it looked as though he'd come back to haunt Carew. He put the Bridge 3-2 ahead, Ben. But a late equaliser from, I can't remember the young lad, I haven't got it in front of me, but they got a late equaliser in the 91st minute, and they got a point, which put them up to third from bottom. Carew will be happy about that. They're out of the relegation zone.
I'll give you the Carew goal scorers. Gordon, Pembrokeshiresport.co.uk is the place to go. Hence my slip. Marcus Griffiths. That's a compliment, isn't it, Gordon?
Marcus, who actually played for Haverfordwest County a few seasons ago, yes.
Yeah, Archie Smith and Harvey Drummond on the score sheet.
Harvey Drummond came off the bench. I think it was in about the 89th minute and got a 91st minute equaliser. Excellent.
Yeah. You've watched a few games on the 4G surface now, and obviously when other games are falling by the wayside because of the weather, there's more of a chance those matches will go ahead. What's it like? Do you think the football's quicker? Is it more exciting?
It is. The bounce is obviously a little bit higher than normal, but when they get the ball on the deck and move it around, it's quite slick. It's quite good to watch. You don't see too many sliding tackles for obvious reasons. Perhaps grass burns or whatever, I don't know. But it was a good, entertaining game. Both sides got into the spirit of it, and the surface has improved a lot. The 4G surface is more closer to grass than what previous surfaces had been, say, a decade ago. It has improved a lot.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, well, good that those games went ahead. Hopefully, the weather will improve a bit then going into games this coming weekend. There were a couple of matches in Division 2 as well. Just to mention for St Ishmael's against Merlin's Bridge. I don't know if you saw that
That was
score,
pretty
Gordon.
close, was it?
Yeah,
10-2?
yeah. St Ishmael's 10, Merlin's Bridge 2 was the final score. So plenty of goals in that one.
I mean,
well.
Tish are probably sitting in a good position to probably get promoted this season. I know the sides above them are a second team, so Tish will be hoping to try and pull a few games together, and they'll be back in Division 1 hopefully next season.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, we started by saying that the Haverfordwest friendly with Cardiff was off. If you want to listen back to the first part of the show this evening, we had a really good interview that Tom Dyer did with Ben Fawcett, Haverfordwest County forward, of course. That was a good interview. The video will be on the Facebook page and you can listen back to that. And we've got the fixtures, Gordon, for Phase 2 in the Cymru Premier League. So I think they start on the 2nd of February, don't they? So a week on Friday, an away game against Aberystwyth for the Bluebirds.
Okay, that'll be obviously they got 10 games left in the season now, Ben, because they're in the last 6, so there's home and away in each one of them, so that's 10 games. Aberystwyth, we all know what Aberystwyth are capable of. Haverfordwest County slipped up when they went there just before the split. I think Tony Pennock obviously is hoping that he can go there and get off to a flying start and this time get a win. So the boys know what they're up against. They did it last season. It'll be a bit of deja vu. Hopefully, we might get through the back door again into Europe. That would be great. But they want. It'll be important to start that first game off with 3 points. It's paramount.
It's an interesting February, actually, for Haverfordwest because plenty of Friday night football, which I quite like, and especially the home games under the lights have generated quite a decent atmosphere and a decent crowd because you're not clashing with the Saturday fixtures going on in Pembrokeshire, so you can pull a good crowd, and the atmosphere has been quite good for those matches. And on the 9th of February, they're home to Pontyberem, so they'll be hoping for a good crowd at the Bridge Meadow that night.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I think most of them are Friday evening ones, especially the Haverfordwest County games at home. Let's hope that local support gets out there and cheers on the Bluebirds. We want them to do as well as they possibly can. We want them to stay in that 7th spot all the way through, so that they are top of the bottom 6. I shouldn't say it is a bottom 6, but you know what I mean.
Indeed, and make it through again because it was such a good run last year, wasn't it? So that's to come, and we'll have plenty of coverage from the Oggy Bridge Meadow Stadium on Pure West Sport as Haverfordwest get going. Let's just change sports for a second, actually, and have a look at some of the rugby. You were saying to me off air, Gordon, some heavy pitches for games on Saturday because obviously the pitches were thawing out, so temperatures were rising. Yeah. That made them wet. Those conditions would have been tricky on Saturday, right?
Definitely, it's conducive to forward of rugby on Saturday. It's put it up the jumper, as they used to say back in my day, and the backs didn't hardly ever see the ball. So possibly 10-man rugby was the theme of the day. I know it was with Haverfordwest against Cardigan, because Cardigan got a very good side and Haverfordwest got a very good pack. And they managed to win that game 11-6 Haverfordwest, which keeps them very much in the promotion hunt.
That was a bit of a battle, and I've seen some of the pictures on pembrokeshiresport.co.uk, and the players, you can barely make out their kits by the second half because they're absolutely coated in mud.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a real muddy affair. Yeah.
Worth mentioning the Championship, Crimmock had a very narrow defeat, didn't they? A local derby against Newcastle Emlyn, and it finished 27-24 to Newcastle Emlyn on Saturday.
I got to give credit to Crimmock coming in at championship level for their first season. They're more than holding their own. They're playing some really good rugby.
They are.
Yes, they lost this particular game against their probably derby rivals, Newcastle Emlyn, who've been there for quite a few seasons themselves. But I think they'll be safe in that division. And whereas their other derby rivals, Narberth, are flying, aren't they? They're top of the division, and they'll take some stopping the season as well.
I think they're
playing some really good rugby.
They were due to play Dunvant
their game
at the weekend,
was postponed, I believe it was, Ben. Anyway, their game.
And I think that was due to the opposition not being able to get a team for the weekend. Rather than
right, that's really sad at championship level that a team can't get a team together to play.
I think that was the case. And you mentioned Whitland as well, Gordon. Fraser Watson to come very soon, but Whitland had a 16-all draw away to Wellinval.
Well, they'd be happy to get a point because Whitland have had a very difficult season this season. They are struggling to find a W. Unfortunately, they didn't find it against Wellinval, but it's a step closer. Hopefully, they can finish the season on a bit more of a high, get a few more wins under their belts so that they can get out of the bottom sector of that division. Yeah. Because Whitland have been in Division 1 for quite a few seasons now. And they have found it difficult this season, but if they can galvanise together, I'm sure they can stay in that division. So wish the Borderers all the best. While we're talking about the Borderers, we just want to thank one of their youngsters who's actually been selected for the Wales Under-20s Six Nations. Luca Sataro, who's played scrum half. He's the son of Dominic Sataro, who was a former Whitland player, Narberth player, and he actually played for Llanelli as well.
Excellent. Yeah, good luck to Luca for that, and congratulations on his call-up. And that just leads me in, actually, to say, Gordon, what the Six Nations fast approaching now, isn't it? And Warren Gatland talking to the media this week, saying that he thinks Wales are good enough to win the title, even with that young squad that he's named. And I think some fitness doubts over George North as well, one of his more experienced players. Do you agree?
Well, you've got Gatland's the man, isn't he? You've got to go by his word, Ben. Wales will have a difficult Six Nations. They have a lot of youngsters involved. They're going to bleed a lot of the youngsters in. George North picked up a knock on his shoulder. Whether he'll be out for the first game against Scotland on February the 3rd, I believe that is, 5:45 kickoff or correct 4:45 kickoff.
4:45, yeah.
Yeah, 4:45. But international rugby is all about, getting off to a good start. And the first game is, it's paramount that you get off to that winning start. Because if you don't, you find yourself under pressure straight away. We're lucky that Wales have got a home game against Scotland. Scotland, it won't be easy. They've improved a lot. We had a decent World Cup. But there's a lot of players that we all know about have now stepped aside, and it's now time for the youngsters to come in and start building again. Whether we can start like we want to, we just have to wait and see. But the preparation that Warren and Rob Howley will put into the boys, they know exactly what the competition is all about, and I'm quite confident they will get off to a flyer. But there's some hard games to come against England, France, Ireland. It's not easy, is it?
It's an interesting opening round of matches, actually. Friday the 2nd of February is France against Ireland. So Grand Slam hopes will be over on match day 1, on the opening round of the tournament for one of those sides, which I think is actually quite good for the teams playing on the Saturday, actually. But that's some start, isn't it? That fixture on the opening night of the Six Nations.
And it's in France as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So, Ireland know what to expect when they go there. It's going to be a war of attrition, to be fair. But I do fancy France to get over the line with home advantage. It's a big thing in the Six Nations. But Ireland are, on the same token, with Farrell there, named as Lions manager, he'll be there wanting to make a point. He is the right man for the job. So he'll be looking to probably carry Ireland to a possible Six Nations Grand Slam. Who knows?
We'll take a deep dive into the Six Nations next Monday, I think, on the show. And we'll do some predictions as well. And I hope George North does make it back. The biggest surprise to me when I read about his injury doubt was that George North is only 31. It feels like he's been around for so long, doesn't it?
Well, he has been around a long time. I think he was captain when he was 18, wasn't he? So he has been around a long time, and he's been a great servant to Wales, both on the wing and in the centre. And if he doesn't play, there'll be somebody to step in. Grady or one of the boys will step in and do just a decent job, and we just have to see how they perform on the day now.
As long as you don't keep losing players to England, Gordon, that's the thing, isn't it?
That's always happened, and it's vice versa as well, isn't it?
It is.
Moriarty was brought up in Wales, went to England, won the World Cup with the was it the under-20s, and then came back to Wales.
And remember Ben Morgan from the Scarlets as well. He was almost picked, was he, at number 8 for Wales? And had a decent career with England in the end, didn't he, as well?
He did. He did.
We'll save this for next week. We'll get into it a bit more next week on the show when we get ready for the opening round of Six Nations fixtures. We're going to take a moment, though. Fraser's going to join us very soon, and we'll be talking cricket in a few moments. Kerry Shahal, who was on the show a couple of years ago now, I think, will be with us to talk about Neyland winning the indoor title once again, but also just a look ahead to what might be coming up this summer in the world of cricket, in Pembrokeshire in particular. Gordon will no doubt tell him how pleased he is that we no longer have draws in Pembrokeshire.
But that's not down to Kerry, mate, to be fair, Ben. That's done at the AGM, which is in February.
I know, but you will still tell anyone that will listen how glad you are about that, because you've been talking about it for years, Gordon, haven't you?
I'm not going to win on about it. I think you find yourself bringing it up every time we have a conversation.
Well, I'm looking forward to talking to Kerry. And also before 9, we're going to hear all about that charity rugby match that's to come. Great to see the Pembrokeshire County side back together for a game against Neyland next month. Were you ever a Pembrokeshire player, Gordon? Did you play for the county?
I played for the county at every age group level and senior.
There we go. That's the answer.
And we'll leave it at that.
And we'll talk to Gareth about that before 9. We're coming back for the second part in just a few moments. It is Monday evening, and good to be with you on Pure West Sport.
Eaton-Evans and Morris